Hi, this is Dayne, and welcome back to the Story of Us podcast. Today's episode will focus on the story of the Stonewall riots, which was not the catalyst for the first ever gay, transgender, and lesbian liberation groups, yet did push for the modern gay rights revolution, today known as the LGBTQ+ movement. The freedom to live and to love without limits or according to any conventional expectations have been virtues fought for, as documentation reveals, since 1924 with the Society for Human Rights. However, it was not until Stonewall that these groups finally stopped hiding and came into the light. Unapologetically true.
At the Trevor Project, we stand for young LGBTQ lives. We are here for you 24/7. Text START to 648-678 for help now. That's START to 648-678 for help now.
To give a brief timeline, since 1923, laws prohibiting sodomy were implemented in New York. Essentially, this banned sexual activity between members of the gay and lesbian community. In 1933, the end of Prohibition was not the end of Prohibition for gay persons. And as of 1952, homosexuality in nature was federally defined as a sociopathic personality disturbance. However, in 1967, some progress was made because the right to drink was finally granted to gay people in New York. Of course, such a freedom didn't come without a price. If any sensual behavior or drag array were to be uncovered in bars, the said institution would lose its license. Nonetheless, the Stonewall Inn was founded in 1967 as a private gay bar and dancing club, undercover to the public, and most importantly, to the police. Because of its popularity among one of the largest minority groups of the time, and thus overwhelming potential for profits, it was taken over by the New York Mafia, and without a doubt, their pockets sank deep from under the table sales. People escaped to the Stonewall Inn and other gay bars, despite all of the danger it took to reach them, because there was nowhere else where they could hold each other, or really even be a person. Any act of defiance was incredibly dangerous, of course. In fact, many faked heterosexuality or hid their true identity when in public, out of fear of arrest or physical harm. Yet at Stonewall, all of that worry vanished, at least for the night. Let's set the scene. It was June 28th and the year was 1969. It was a Saturday at dawn, and euphoria stinged the room like a hangover from the previous night. Deputy and Inspector for the NYPD, Seymour Pine, had heard rumblings about the happenings at Stonewall. He had heard of and gone after other gay bars before, but each aim had missed because he couldn't get any to close for good. So, his scheme for attack was different this time. Yet to his dismay, despite his meticulous planning, the execution was quickly disrupted. What went wrong is that all of those kicked out of the bar banded together outside, instead of the typical flee and disperse that was the routine response to sirens. No. This time, they stood up and fought back. The people who had for so long sat down or slumped to the shadows. They threw everything and anything that they could at the police, eventually to the point where they overcame them. The looks of terror on the faces of their previous aggressors immediately sparked rejoice among the crowd. They were out in the street, together with the people they loved, in the clothes they loved, and they had won. Not once before had a feat like this ever been made, yet there they stood, themselves, and proud to be it.
We're coming out for everyone in the community. We're coming out for LGBT.
The fight for equality is far from over. Join us.
Stonewall was a riot of love and hate, the two most profound emotions of the human psyche. The civil rights movement must also be recognized as the fight for more than just racial equality, for it spoke for all persons rejected by the alpha straight white male's agenda. Significant proponents of the crusade for gay emancipation really cannot be boiled down to just a few names. Doing so would be too dismissive of everyone that was there. It's sad that we will never know all of the names and faces that were. However, some names that are known include Stormy de la Verre, supposedly the lesbian who threw the starting punch of Stonewall, and Marsha P. Johnson, mother figure for homeless transgenders and queer black youths. Many individuals are admirable for undertaking welfare projects that were so much bigger than themselves, like Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera with the Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries, a network that helped compensate transgender sex workers. Separate transgender equality groups were important because they were often under-recognized by operations like the Gay Liberation Front. Nonetheless, they were vastly successful. For instance, the Queens Liberation Front, led by Lee Brewster and Bunny Eisenhower, issued Drag magazine and financed the first Pride March.
No one knew what I was going through. We were in the middle of a very conservative area.
I never made the decision to transition. I made the decision to be happy.
The Stonewall riots themselves only lasted several days, but their impact continues to resound today. On June 28th of 1970, a year after the affair, America saw its first Pride March sweep the streets of New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. It was a parade of people marching with banners, dancing, cheering, and rejoicing together in the complete public eye. Today, June is officially declared as Pride Month in celebration of the unravelings of Stonewall, and Pride events occur annually at this time. Gay pride is defined as recognition of LGBTQ+ identity, affirmation of equal rights, and celebration of visibility, dignity, and diversity in the LGBTQ+ community. And now, our nation sees gay representation in media more than ever, same-sex marriages taking place in all states, and gay people serving in the military without discrimination. We even witnessed an openly gay man campaign for president in 2019. A quick question for our guest today. Do you feel like progress has been made in regards to gay rights since Stonewall?
Yes, I feel like progress has been made, but I don't think that enough progress has been made. The second biggest mass shooting that has happened in America was the Pulse nightclub shooting. The fact that it was a target on gay people, and that's almost 5 decades after Stonewall, I don't think enough progress has been made.
Obviously, the fight for equality will never be over, and the story of us does not end here. Please remember to tune in for next week's episode.